Welcome to this video, which is all about placement expectations for PES 4005. Okay, so just to start off, in this session we're going to be discussing placement expectations and also a little bit about the assessment. So in terms of finding a placement, if you haven't found a placement yet, that's absolutely fine, still got a bit of time. Mel from Careers, I definitely advise meeting with her. You can book a meeting with her on MetHub, so do that. Go onto the student page and go onto MetHub. Mel has helped some of our students in year 1 and year 2 to find a placement. A whole part of the placement module is you actually getting some rejection, going out there, sending emails, going into settings and getting some no's. Obviously the whole process of this is going to set you up when you start to look for jobs, teaching jobs after you graduate. So this is all part of the module. So don't be too disheartened if you don't get a yes straight away. Think about your local opportunities. What's in your local area? Are there any local schools, charities, play schemes, schools you went to, people referral units, anything. So have a think about any friends and family, any links you got there, usually a good place to start. Think about what interests you. Obviously, most of you are thinking about primary education, which is absolutely fine. But the whole point of this module is that we're setting you up for your PGCE. You're guaranteed an interview on the PGCE, you're not guaranteed a place. One of the main reasons our students don't get onto the course is they don't have enough varied experience. So we're trying to get you some experience with children in a different setting to primary schools. Think about Cardiff Met Links. We've got a placement office that have got thousands and thousands of schools, charities, alternative settings. I've put the list on the placement. This is your opportunity to try something new for primary teaching. So why are we doing this in year 1? So again, PGCE, we're trying to get you to build your CV. So we're going to talk to you in year 2 about how you apply for PGCE, but really important that you start to think about the development of the child. So it's not just primary education. I know most of you want to be primary teachers, but it's really important to think about nursery, where the children have come from before primary education and then after as well. Also, it brings a lot of theories to life in that we've introduced in the module, and you'll see this within practice. So maybe in secondary school or in nursery, you'd see some of the theories we discussed in the module. Okay, so you've found your placement, you are ready to start. Obviously, professionalism is really important. So in terms of expectations, the first thing, if you are sick, obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic, some of you are going to get sick, and that's absolutely fine. What we ask in the university procedure is that you contact the school by phone. Don't text, don't email, don't message me. Really important that you phone the school. You have to make this communication. They've got risk assessments. They've made provision for you to come. It's your obligation that you have to inform them you're not coming. Obviously, we've built relationships with these organisations for a number of years. We wouldn't want that to be wasted by you not, by ringing in. That's really important. These are all things I'm sure are really obvious to you, but year in, year out, they can spoil a placement, a relationship with the university. Turn up on time, really important that you do that. They're offering you an experience. So when you're there, make sure you turn up on time. And another thing, a number of employers have got in touch and said, please, with mobile phones, they won't be needed on the placement, especially in secondary, especially in nursery settings. So leave them in the staff room. Really important that you're not out scrolling through phones. Again, you'll be role models, especially in secondary school, pupil referral units. Really important you just put your phones away. Really important as well, you consider your reference. A number of these placements you could put on your PGCE as one of your references. You need to provide an academic but also a workplace reference. So this could inform some of your reference for this. Make sure you make a good impression. Again, it may not, a number of you don't want to work, or you're dead set, you want to work in a primary school. Still, you need to do a good job within this. Again, this can inform your PGCE. And even if it is in a secondary school, in Wales, it's such a small community. Primary and secondary head teachers talk a lot, especially in cluster meetings. So make sure you make that good impression. A number of our year 1s have actually got jobs when they've finished and they've graduated and they've done their PGCE. with relationships they developed early on in their teaching career. So you're going to be quick. You're going to be applying for jobs before you know it. So try and make a good impression. Really, really important. And they'll know people as well. Head teachers will know people in primary and vice versa. Take the initiative. Really, really important. If you work in a secondary school, help to support some of the after-school clubs. It may be that you're in a PRU or in an ALN setting, and you might see that the teacher needs some help. So really, really important that you're observing. It's an observational placement, but if you see they need help with photocopying, for example, or they need help with making additional resources, cutting things out, gluing, sticking, that is all going to be helping the class teacher, and they're giving up their time to help you. So really important that you think about taking initiative. A big one is to smile, try and enjoy it. This is the opportunity that the whole reason we've set this up is, number one, for you to get more experience with PGCE, but also from feedback from students. Students who've finished on the course have said they wish they'd been able to see alternative careers to primary education, because obviously it's quite competitive to get into primary education, into the mainstream classrooms. A lot of you aren't aware of the other opportunities that are out there. So when you're looking for a placement, start to do a bit of research. Think about what is out there. Charities, play schemes, child psychologists, so many different things. And if you're unsure, meet with Mel and she can help. Really important as well to think about, as part of this, you've got a blog you need to write about. So you'll be able to, on your blog, you'll be talking about digital competency, numeracy. You'll be in settings where you'll be seeing firsthand some of these theories that you're introducing and talking about in settings. So if you're in a secondary school, if you're in a nursery, think about how these theories are coming to life and how they link to the curriculum. I know it's not primary education, but you'll be able to demonstrate and reinforce points within your blog. It's a blog, so you can take pictures, you can take videos, but before you do that, make sure you check with the placement mentor. In terms of logging your hours, really important that you use the timesheets. If you go on the placement page, on there's a document that you'll use. On the first day, I would give a hard copy. You can do this electronically, but I would give a hard copy to your placement mentor and they can just keep a track of your hours. 24 hours is a minimum. You, by all means, can earn up to as many as you want, but it has to be within that time frame of when the module's on, so from March till April. Okay, and this is an observational placement. So the whole point of the placement is that you observe to see what is this placement about. So if you're in a pupil referral unit, if you're in a secondary school, speak to the teachers, talk to them about timetables, talk to them about resources, talk to them about planning, talk to them about the day-to-day life of a teacher in that setting. If it's a nursery, again, ask to see things like placement, ask to see things like planning. So it's an observational placement, but as I mentioned earlier, take the initiative. You don't just have to sit at the back of the class and take notes. Really, really important that you get stuck in. And again, just for your own sanity, if you're just sat at the back, sat on your hands, you'll get probably quite bored quite quickly. So try and take maybe small groups, maybe try and take some reading groups. That's all going to be really, really helpful. Okay, section C of your blog assessment is all about your placement. I've done a separate recording on this in lecture 1, so make sure you watch that. It explains how you answer that. But in that, I'm looking for you to reflect on what you've seen. For some of you, I'm definitely confident that you might see what's out there. You might see in secondary, you might see in nursery and think, maybe I don't want to be a primary school teacher. And that's the whole point of this. The whole point of this is to try and broaden your horizons. There's so many different things you can get into now with your degree. You don't have to get into primary education. Primary education obviously is amazing. I've been a primary school teacher. I'm a huge advocate for getting into the primary classroom, but there are so many different other opportunities. So don't feel you have to just do that with this course. So in terms of the blog post, think about, what have you learned? What are your employability skills? You might have just worked in a nursery and thought, yeah, I really can't do the younger ones. Well, that's fine. That's informed your practice. That's informed your employability skills. And you can think about, right, I know I don't want to do that in the future. Or maybe, again, with the older ones, you might think, yeah, I don't want to do that. And that's absolutely fine. Think about the challenges and how they were overcome. I know in some of you are really nervous to work in secondary schools, so think about how you overcame these challenges are really, really important. And again, it gives you a bit of space to think about in your first year, why do you want to be a primary school teacher? What do you need to do in terms of the next few steps? Because some of you, you don't actually have the requirements to get onto the PGCE. Really important that you speak with Mel, you speak with me, and you have a start to think about PGCE and what are the application requirements, what can you do, do you have enough qualifications, do you have the maths, science, English, GCSE requirements. These are all really, really, really important. You may not have those, so maybe in year 2 you might need to go to college, do your equivalency tests. Again, these are all things in this module you'll identify so you know what you need to do over the summer and into year 2. And that's it. So, placement expectations are have fun, be professional, and make sure the workflow is completed before you go out on placement. If you have any other questions, please get in touch. Thanks for watching.